channel. I'm happy that you're joining me. And as always, click the like button, the subscribe button. Show your coach, Dre, some love. You can hit me in my Cash App at Dre3Dog. That's right. Show me some love. Support the channel by hitting my Cash App at Dre3Dog. Again, hit the like button, subscribe, help this channel grow so I can continue to give some more great content. Now I'm here to talk and to give you my PSU notes, my post-game Penn State football analysis. And I got to tell you, it took me quite the number of hours to get over this horrendous outcome where we're a 24.5-point favorite, and we go from East Coast to the West Coast, beautiful California, the beautiful Rose Bowl out there in Pasadena, in front of all those empty seats, and we lay a stinker. This is probably going to go down as Coach Franklin's worst game in his Penn State tenure. We lose 42-37 in all kind of ways. UCLA ran the ball. They had a quarterback that was absolutely the most dynamic athlete on the field. And when you go into this, Nico, their quarterback out there, and I'm not even going to attempt to say his last name because I'm going to make a fool of myself saying that. But those that are college football fans, you know his short, troubled tenure in college football. Played and started for a 10-3 Tennessee Volunteer team, led them to the college football playoffs last year. Then he decided to jump into the portal because his bag wasn't big enough. He thought that he can renegotiate. Tennessee thought so highly of him. They said, hey, here's the keys to the portal door. You go into that portal and good luck to you. So he goes back to L.A. where he's from, ends up with UCLA, and he was in disarray. There's even some comments from him that he was thinking about stepping away, clearing his head from football because he just wasn't mentally right. So you tell me how this kid on last Saturday showed up and played like Superman, okay? He needs to change his name from Nico to Clark, last name Kent, because he jumped in the phone booth before the kickoff of the game and took off his pregame warm-ups like this and came out there all chest, all legs, and he put a number on us for a total of 5 total touchdowns. So I'm just stunned, just like all of Penn State Nation at the results. There's really no excuses. We'll get into it. I'll play a couple of clips from Coach Franklin's post-game presser. And what I'll say about that up front right now is I know many people don't like that he threw out a lot of excuses. What I took out of what Coach Franklin was saying is he was taking arrows for a lot of things that only he knows and those coaches know is going wrong with the program. Yes, as a Penn State former player and a large lover and supporter of the program, we are all disappointed. We want to, again, we're going to Sunday morning quarterback, you know, what happened to our beloved blue and white. But what he did was what most ball coaches do. They're going to own the loss. They're going to own the failures of the ball club. The only criticism that I have for him is he could have used different terminology. Nobody wants to hear excuses about the travel because Oregon traveled out to us, you know, just as far, if not further, and played pretty good. So nobody wants to hear the excuses, but I understand what Coach Franklin was trying to get across. Basically, he was just being a leader, and he was going down with the ship because, again, it's too early for him to really determine. He hasn't had a chance to break down the tape, really meet with his coaching staff, really do a analysis of what really went wrong. Okay, was it the week of preparation? What really did they change or alter, you know, going into that game? He has to look at all those things that none of us are ever going to know about. Why our team looked the way they did against a winless 0-4 team. Again, I don't want to, you know, disrespect UCLA, the Bruins. Okay, I don't want to do that, but nobody was even there to support them. It was ridiculous. I saw a clip on X of the fans so-called rushing the field Man, it might have been 5 to a dozen people running across the field, celebrating that victory. And in fact, there was more security people on the field than there were people rushing the field. So that's about the only low blow I'm gonna take on UCLA because look, they deserved. Hey, they outplayed us. Whatever it was, they looked dynamic on offense. Outside of a few series, and when our defense coordinator Jim Knowles dialed up a little bit of pressure in the second half, they got what they wanted. Halftime, it was 27-7. In fact, let's play it back. They go down the field 7 points. I don't know if it was because we were playing too soft. We had our off covers, but Nico was getting the ball out quickly. His receivers were making plays. But the most stunning thing, and you heard the commentators during the course of the game, they were shocked at how they could just run the football. Take the quarterback runs out of there, and the off-schedule plays and scramble. No defense is equipped to defend that. And he was dynamic, okay? Take the quarterback runs out of what I'm talking about here. When Mr. Woods and the other running backs were just running that inside zone, they were moving bodies. And they were getting 5, 6, 7 yards a clip. So, they were on schedule. So when you're second and short, third and manageable, the whole playbook was open. And again, I can't even believe, Mr. Jerry Neuheisel, who, let's start talking more about UCLA, So let me get away from my disappointment with how we performed. But let me look at UCLA. And as I talk about this, I'm going to get mad all over again about our performance because how does UCLA fire Coach Foster, who they hired just a year ago, who had no experience? Okay, UCLA was a laughing stock of the Big Ten. Nobody wanted the job. Chip Kelly, head coach. Where do you ever see a head coach of a Power 4 football program say, you know what, this place stinks so bad, I'm just going to go and be the offensive coordinator at another Power 4 school? Where they do that at? Where does a head coach making millions of dollars running his own program just say, you know what, this place stinks so bad, I'm going to just be the OC at another program? That's what Chip Kelly did. He bounced up out of there. You know what I mean? He went to Ohio State, won a national championship, and then he bounced on Ohio State, and now he's coaching with the Las Vegas Raiders. They stinking up the joint. So I think Coach Kelly's just chasing that bag. So I ain't mad at him. But UCLA places in turmoil. Fires Foster after, I believe, 15 total games. They were a joke. 0-4 start this year. They didn't have a lead, if my memory serves me correctly and my notes tell me correctly. They didn't have a lead all year. Take the opening possession, drive down, go up 7-0 over Penn State. First time all year they have a lead, okay? What do? They do a little push kick, get the ball back. They were the aggressors. They took it to us from the rip, okay? Recovered that, went on, got a field goal out of it. So they were up 10-0 before we even touched the ball, okay? So I'm so flustered. I'm trying to stay on thought here, but let me tell you something. Get back to the Golden Boy, who they just crowned as the next great thing. This man, Jerry Neuheisel, let me give him respect. But how does Coach Knowles, how does the Penn State defense, how does the number 7 team in the country allow a guy that just got play calling duties, that has never done it in his life? He's never called plays in his life. And when I play this brief clip in a second, the man don't even know how to operate a headset. How does this happen to our beloved Nittany Lions? The man scored 42 points on us, 27 points in the first half, okay? 15 in the second half. How does a guy that just a couple of days ago was tapped to be the play caller for a 0-4 football team score 42 points against the Penn State Nittany Lions. With all the talent, our defense is supposed to be our best unit. We have dominant players. Some would say we have first-round player, edge player. We got talent through all levels of that defense. And we gave up 42 points to a winless football team that just hired an interim coach. They don't even have a head coach. He's an interim head coach. They just put, I keep repeating, Jerry Neuheisel as a play caller. And when I play this clip, you're going to understand. You're going to hear from Jerry's own words. The man said they've only had 2 days to install and go over their game plan. How does Penn State give up 42 points to a coach and a 0-4 football team that had 2 days to practice their game plan? Okay, you don't believe me? Hey, listen to this clip from our coach, Jerry Neuheisel.
I hate to say this, but I had never practiced with the headset in terms of like the button to talk to the quarterback. So there's like multiple times during the game I'm calling the play, but the headset's flipped up because I'm used to being a position coach. And then all of a sudden I'm pressing the wrong part of the button trying to talk to him. Like it was a mess. Hopefully we'll get that cleaned up by next week. But just one of those days. It just all kind of fell in. We had 2 days to practice the new game plan. And all they did was believe. And we came out and played as hard as we could for 60 full minutes. Had to take a safety at the end because we messed it up a little bit. But, like, how can you not love college football?
So you telling me that's the guy that led UCLA to 435 total yards of offense against our Penn State Nittany Lions? I think not. Not in this lifetime should a freshly minted offensive play caller with zero experience be able to rack up 435 total yards, 5 tuds against the blue and white, and our powerful coach who just came off of a natty with Ohio State, the highest paid assistant coach in all of Power 4 football, Mr. Jim knows. That should not happen on this past Saturday or any Saturday that ends in the letter Y, okay? That can't happen. You mean to tell me they had 20 more plays than us? You know how that happened? Because they had 50-plus rushing attempts. That's right. They had 52 carries for a total of 239 rush yards. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to repeat that once again, okay? The UCLA Bruins ran the ball 52 times against the blue and white. They had 77 total plays, okay? That's simple math. They ran the ball 52 times. You know how many total plays we had? We had 57 total plays. So you mean to tell me the blue and white had 57 plays, they ran the ball for 52 times? That if you need any stat to know why Penn State lost this game 42-37, that's the only stat you need to know. That we had the ball for 57 plays and they ran the ball for 52 plays. Okay. So hey, you got to give credit again. I'm not going to play a hate on UCLA. It's more that I'm just shocked that this new staff, and like they said on the broadcast, even when they went to the studio team, hey, it's another proof that in college ball, in all ball, I don't care what sports, coaching matters. Clearly, they got rid of a staff that were over their skis. They brought in some guys that quickly were able to put together a game plan, get the players to believe and to perform better than what they are. That's coaching, okay? So let's talk about Penn State a little bit more. You can't allow a ball club to run 52 times in ball control. Come on, we got to be better than that. I don't know where our run blitzes were. But again, they were getting 5, 6 yards a pop again. So they were able to be on schedule. And then what was back-breaking off all of first half and then in major portions of the second half was the ability of the UCLA quarterback Nico to create on third down, especially when we did get them in third and long. I don't know. I don't have the research on this, but I believe it had to be at least 3, maybe even as many as 4 times. There was 3rd and 8+, and he personally converted and got a first down by just running around scrambling. There was one that they ran a replay a couple of times when our linebacker was right there, and Nico was just the best athlete. He just gave him a dead leg and went the other direction, and he easily converted a first down on that play. But Nico was doing that over and over again, and I think without really knowing exactly what the calls were, but just looking at some of the replays, you know, we were in man sometimes, we were in zone sometimes, trying to mix it up. We dedicate what looked to be some sort of spies, you know, on the quarterback. But that guy, Nico, man, he just had the ability, and that's where the game is. You got to have quarterbacks that can give you 3, 4 first downs a game purely by running the ball out of a broken play or off-schedule play. You don't have that. And that's not a shot at Drew because he did the same thing yesterday. But here's a shot at UCLA. UCLA's defense stinks, okay? But Drew did do that yesterday. But Nico playing against what everybody believed, and I still do, you know, teams have bad days. Clearly, we chose the wrong Saturday to have a bad day. It's one thing to play as well as we did against Oregon and come up short by not making plays because you're looking at a dynamic team, a well-coached team, a team full of 4 and 5 stars just like us, you know, so you can forgive a defense for not being able to slow them, even though at one point they slowed them enough for our offense last week to score 21 consecutive points, including the first touchdown in the first overtime. So the defense did hold up, you know, enough to give us a lead in the overtime period. But all of us Saturday against UCLA, we just were trying to play catch up. They had run up such a lead. We couldn't solve the QB run. They just were a confident team, and they just had the juice. Once they got that juice of belief, it was hard for us to overcome. And just think about it, okay? 42-37, 7 of those points came from a special teams play, okay? So you just think about it, man. That was a game-changing play for us, man. You know what I mean? So salute to number 3, Nittany Dennis Sutton for, you know, he was trying to make plays all day, trying to make plays, and boom, right there. That's why he's an All-American candidate because he just makes plays, okay? If he's not sacking the quarterback, he's fighting off double teams, trying to get running backs on the ground, and he's on special teams making special plays, and he's a special player. Speaking of Mr. 33, Nittany Dennis Sutton, I want you to hear from him before I begin to talk a little bit more about Penn State. So I'm going to play this clip. Salute to at PSU Poorman, Mr. Mike Poorman, off of his X account that covers our Penn State team. He does a great job. I'm checking him out on his X account. So he was able to speak to 33 after the game. So let me play this clip. And again, shout out to you, Mike Poorman, for getting this soundbite. I like what Nittany had to say here. So take a look at this clip.
They're a great team, but we lost the game. That's embarrassing. It's bad. We all got to look in the mirror. It's not one person. It's not one coach, not one player. It's literally everybody.
I like everything that he said in that brief clip. I like my guys to be serious, accountable, and football teams need their leaders to be accountable. They're playmakers, guys that, you know, are going to be playing on Sunday making millions of dollars that on Saturday, They're not worried about their NIL money. They're thinking about how can they make plays and how can they lead their team to victory. And if they come up short, he said, we all cannot make excuses. We all have to look in the mirror, and we have to be better. He said he even was gracious in saying they're a good football team. Well, we know they're not a good football team. They're 1-4. They were 0-4 before we got there. But what I do like about what he had to say there, thanks to, again, shout out to you, Mike Portman, is that no excuses. There are no excuses, all right? And, you know, all my friends out there across the world, you know we don't believe in excuses because they are monuments of nothingness, okay? So Penn State, we can't be about excuses. Let's talk about our Penn State offense. And I'm constantly in conversation with my former teammates and, you know, many of the men that wore the blue and white. And I'm out there and I'm starting to see a lot more chatter online. We're traditionally, we don't air, we don't talk, we don't call for it. And I'm not calling for anybody's jobs. And you really don't see, you know, former players and supporters of the program do that. You know, not from my era, okay? And James is, like I said last week, James is the best coach for our program, okay? Tough 2-week stretch. He'll be the first one to raise his hand and say, this is a tough 2-week stretch, okay? And that's why to anybody that would listen, that kept talking to me over the summer when we got all, you know, the hype train was out of control. Penn State is going to be in the national championship. They're going to be the third straight Big Ten team. They have all these seniors coming back. It's the blueprint that Michigan had 2 years ago. It's the blueprint that the Buckeyes had last year. So all our guys are returning, committed. We got the most experienced quarterback in the Big Ten. So most polls had us at number 1 and number 2 coming into the season. And I do not like that sort of noise, that sort of pressure. Because, again, you have a misstep like we had last week, and then all that weight of the world is down on you to the point where, again, here we go, back-to-back losses for the first time since, I believe, 2021. And everybody that wanted to believe, you know, that this was our year, now they're out for blood now, many of them. They're out for blood. They're calling for heads, and I think that is not the way to go. I know people are passionate, enthusiastic about the program, but that's not the way to go. But I want to talk about this here. Many people do want to know and have an honest discussion about what is our identity as a program, especially and particularly offensively. What is our identity? And I want to speak to this quickly before I wrap this up. You know, because it was a tough one, and like everything else, you got to look forward to the next week. But what is our identity? You know, I'm having more and more of this conversation with former players, and a lot of us, including myself, you know, we look at these 2 phenomenal running backs that we have, number 10, Singleton, and number 13, Allen, okay? 2 different style running backs, but if you just look at the numbers coming out of this game right here, you just look at the numbers. Neither one of those guys led the team in attempts. It was Drew, okay? And I know some of those were out of necessity, you know, not quarterback designed calls, you know. And in fact, Drew had 11 carries, official carries, and so did Nick. Drew had 11 for 78 yards, and Nick had 11 for 39. Mr. Allen, who I believe, and I think just by watching the games, Allen's our best running back. Okay, that's no disrespect to Singleton, but even the commentators talked about his physicality, and that gives the team some juice when he's dropping those pads and he's running over guys. But when he gets 8 carries for 50 yards, I look at it as 8 carries, 50 yards, 2 touchdowns. At some point, I just think we gotta, I don't want to say anoint, but we gotta sit here and say, Mr. Allen, you getting at least 20 rushing attempts per week. Okay? Let's create an identity that we got what we believe is a good, experienced offensive line. We got a big, strong quarterback who is running more and more. Let's impose our will. Let's get an identity. What are we going to be? Because we spread the ball out a little bit. We get few receptions. Our leading receiver had, I believe, 4 catches for 52 yards. Number 1, Mr. Hudson for 40, whatever yards. Number 16, Dinkins had the touchdown. He had 3 catches. You know what I mean? They're not the offensive passing game isn't producing or isn't eliciting that juice and excitement. We make plays, but I think our big passing plays, our big energy in the pass game will come off of the back of number 13 setting the offense in notion that, look, hey, let's get back to something, or let's start being a physical football team offensively, okay? And you'll hear this a lot, from current coaches, old coaches, analysts that have football background who covered the sport for many, many years. An offensive line will be more physical the more they run the ball, okay? We're not running the ball enough, and then we got different types of runners coming in that aren't, that drop the pads between the tackles, one foot downhill type of runner, establishing that mentality. I just think we need to have a mentality and an identity. And I think it's time now to give the bulk of the work to Allen, okay? And it just is what it is, okay? We need to. I know a lot of programs, you look at the pros and some other programs, they like this thunder and lightning. They like this combination. But you know what? Right now, we're struggling to establish an identity, okay? And when number 13, Mr. Allen, gets the ball, for the most part, he is productive. And he elicits, I believe, fear in a defense. I'd like to see a defense. He had 8 carries against UCLA. That team was 0-4. Did you see? Those guys couldn't even chase down Drew when he was running in the open field. Now, can you imagine if Allen is getting that work? Let Allen get that work, okay? Let that offensive line, so that's where it's going to flip where negative 20 in total plays to us being plus 20. Let number 13 Allen get that work. Put that ball in his belly in that mesh, or let's get some eye formation, or we want to get that sniffer back in there, that ace back. Let's figure out who we gonna be, the next several weeks, okay? And hopefully that's gonna carry over moving forward. I just think, in a lot of former players, I even say it myself, man. No shade, man. And Coach Andy, our offense coordinator. I just think we get too cute at times, okay? I just think we get too cute, okay, offensively. This is the Big Ten, all right? You got to move a guy against his will and do it over and over and over and over again. UCLA was the get-right game for us to go out there, put that ball in number 13's belly, and just smash them in the mouth and keep our year going and hold on to that number 7 position. So now we put ourselves in a unevident position that we really don't want to be in. How we're going to try to run the table and fight our way to get back into the CFP, the college football playoffs. But we still got a lot of football games to play. I know Coach Franklin and I know the others are going to figure this out. I know they're not going to get any sleep up there in Happy Valley. Happy Valley is very unhappy at this particular moment. And until we win the next game, many people are going to be questioning post-game comments of Coach Franklin, which I said I was going to play this clip. I'm going to play this, and then we're going to get out of here. But they're going to be questioning Coach Franklin's post-game comments and what are perceived to be some excuses and not have the team prepared. I have faith in Coach Franklin and that those things will be corrected and that we do have some very good teams on the schedule and that we can go out there, fight for that win, and ultimately get that win and finish our season with just 2 losses in the Big Ten. We can't begin to even give consideration to losing more than 2 games in the Big Ten if we're going to have any thoughts to make it to the CFP. So as I get out of here, let me just play briefly our head ball coach, the head honcho of the blue and white, the man that has given us so much victories over his tenure, the man that has really positioned us for glory in Happy Valley. Unfortunately, it's been a down 2 weeks, but this is his post-game presser. I'm going to let you take a look at it briefly, hear some of his thoughts about what he had to say, and then I'm going to come back with my final commentary and wrap up this wrap-up show for the UCLA versus Penn State ball game. So here's head ball coach James Franklin after that horrible loss.
Obviously, we did not handle last week's loss well. We also lost some players in that game during the week, and then everything else, the travel, everything else. Did not come out with the right energy to start the game, and before you know it, obviously they get a touchdown drive and an onside kick, and now you're fighting. They gain confidence, and we're fighting for the next 3 quarters. So that's my responsibility. And
like I said, I thought the press conference and how Coach Franklin handled that was more about him protecting his program, his coaches, his players. I just think in a moment, sometimes none of us are clear-headed as he is today. And the next time he meets the press, I guarantee you he will be more clear, more precise, and go into more details about what went wrong, what he thought about his preparation for the week, and where we're going moving forward. So I have no doubt that better days are quickly coming for the Penn State Nittany Lions. We're going to be rock solid, but we are dealing with 2 tough losses. And this UCLA loss was a gut punch, a real gut punch. But I love the Lions just like you love the Lions, so let's hang in there again. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you hanging in there with me and supporting me again. You want to show some love, hit me in my Cash App at Dre3Dog. Appreciate you. We are.